On the 2nd and the 6th of January 2016, China landed 3 planes to test the new airstrip illegally built on Fiery Cross Reef in the Spratly Islands. This is the latest unilateral and dangerous move by China towards its goal of complete control on the whole South China Sea. Since late 2013, China has spent billions of dollars and sent numerous vessels to intensify its reclamation activities on features it occupied illegally in the Spratly Islands, enlarging them by hundreds of times in size. On these artificial islands, China has built facilities such as fortified multi-story buildings, communication installations, long piers, and so on. Most notably, on the Fiery Cross Reef, China quickly enlarged the reclamation area and built an airstrip. By September 2015, China had completed building a runway 3,000 meters long and 60 meters wide that could serve big aircraft. Along with that, China installed communication systems and air traffic control facilities. China's test flight to the Fiery Cross Reef was the latest step in a series of illegal moves to realize its ambition of occupying the whole South China Sea, turning it into a China's pond. China's act drew sharp reaction from many countries. Vietnam and the Philippines have made separate diplomatic protests, affirming that these test flights escalated tensions that would result in negative impacts to peace and stability in the region and threaten the safety, security, and freedom of sea and air travel in and above the South China Sea. Facing strong international criticism, China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Media launched a large-scale propaganda campaign that paints its new airstrips as bringing civilian benefits to the region. China blatantly claimed that these activities were normal as they were carried out entirely within China's sovereign territories. However, these utterly baseless arguments fail to justify China's dark scheme. China's test flights are seen by observers as part of a long-term overall strategy to take complete control of the South China Sea, which will pose grave threats to peace, security, and development in the region. First, China's test flights pose serious threats to the security and safety for international air travel. According to statistics provided by Vietnam Civil Aviation Department, during the first week of January 2016, China made a total of 46 flights into Ho Chi Minh Flight Identification Region without any notification to Vietnam's authorities. China's actions are raising the risk of accidents due to the high density of air traffic in the region. China's test flights are actions of unilateralism that aim to change the status quo in the region and turn Beijing's massive reclamation work in the disputed seas to a fait accompli. These will complicate the regional situation, threatening peace and hindering diplomatic efforts to resolve disputes. The test flights to the Fiery Cross Reef were described by China as civilian in nature, but it would serve as a precursor for China's future military flights and even an air defense identification zone in the South China Sea. China is now on track to install early warning radar and other military communication systems on the Fiery Cross Reef. According to Leszek Bushinsky, visiting fellow at the Australian National University, the next step will be, once they've tested it with several flights, they will bring down some of their fighter air power, Su-27s and Su-33s, and they will station them there permanently. Ian Story, a South China Sea expert at Singapore's Institute for Southeast Asian Studies, predicted. As these facilities become operational, Chinese warnings to both military and civilian aircraft will become routine. These events are a precursor to an air defense identification zone, or an undeclared but de facto air defense identification zone, and one has to expect tensions to rise. In an interview with South China Morning Post, China's retired General Su Guangyu went as far as saying that China's military aircraft would use the new airstrip on the Fiery Cross Reef in the first half of 2016. Besides the airstrip on the Fiery Cross Reef, China is expected to complete building 2 other airstrips on the Subi and Mischief Reefs by the end of 2016. By then, together with the one on the Woody Island in the Paracel, China will have a total of 4 large airfields in the South China Sea that could accommodate modern strike fighters and strategic bombers. That would enable China to increase patrol flights and impose more control in the South China Sea, encompassing a large area from the U.S. naval base in Guam in the West Pacific to the Indian Ocean. Hans Christensen, a China security expert from the Federation of American Scientists, observed, "The airfields would allow Chinese aircraft to refuel, repair, and if necessary, rearm without having to fly more than 1,000 kilometers to the nearest Chinese airbase on Hainan Island." Bonnie Glaser from the Center for Strategic and International Studies said, China's basing of H-6K strategic bombers would put countries as far as Australia within striking distance of the Chinese Air Force. China's actions, including reclamation, building infrastructure, and test flights to the Fiery Cross Reef, amongst others, are exposing its own about-face policy and running counter to its many official announcements, including those made by its top leaders. The recent test flights to the Fiery Cross Reef were China's dangerous move of escalation in the South China Sea. Unless prevented, China would be emboldened to push forward with more aggressive moves, such as militarizing facilities or sending military aircraft and vessels to the new artificial islands in the Spratleys, heightening tensions and posing a direct threat to the security, safety, and freedom of sea and air travel in the region. This in turn could even lead to violent military encounters with related parties. China must end its infringement of international laws and its threats to peace and security in the South China Sea.